Hello there. The French President, Emmanuel Macron, came to Brexit UK and told us he wants more Europe. During his visit for the Anglo-French Summit last week, the French President Emmanuel Macron was interviewed by Andrew Marr and made it quite clear that, as far as he was concerned, the answers lay in having more Europe. But before that, he also said that while the UK could have a deeper relationship with the EU than others enjoy, because the UK is leaving the EU, it can't be part of the single market. He said that quite clearly. But for sure, he said, except if you change your mind, you will not be part of the single market, as you will not be part of the European Union. And as we won't be changing our minds, all those Remainers out there thinking that they'll be keeping us in the single market had better reappraise their thoughts, hadn't they? Monsieur Macron did go on to say that the UK will get a bespoke deal, somewhere between full access and a trade deal, but to get single market access would mean accepting all the freedoms, all the jurisdiction of the ECJ, as well as making budget contributions, which of course means remaining in the EU, however you dress that up. The French President was very clear that he was not going to comment in any way that looked like he was part of conducting a country-by-country negotiation, as that would be the quickest way to dismantle the EU itself. But that Michel Barnier's team was doing all the negotiating for the whole EU. One can see that Monsieur Macron could advance his EU standing out of this. But is he going to push for the benefit of the people of France? You know, those that voted him in. Or is it now EU above all else? Bear in mind that during his interview, the French President did admit that had an in-out referendum been held in France, then he thought that the answer would also have been a vote for leave. So why is he so at odds with the feelings of the citizens of France? And when Andrew Marr quizzed the President on his ambitions for an even more integrated and centralised European Union, with EU taxes and more done at the centre, his answer was that he was not alone in these thoughts, and that the EU must protect the people. Look, he said, this is not just my view. I think what we need is first of all to have a much more protective Europe. Europe is something which will protect you on digital, environment, migration, collective security and a fair organisation. He then went on to say that he wanted to see less bureaucracy. Now that one did make me laugh. And once again said that the EU should protect people, and he said have more sovereignty, more unity and more democracy. Another opportunity to laugh. All I could hear was Macron's view of an expansionist EU, which is something that I definitely do not want to be a part of. But listening to Macron, you could also hear the undertones of a quiet, understated, authoritarian project fear. The EU will protect you. Just leave it all to the EU. And two of the claims he made are obvious nonsense. The first is the EU will protect you on migration. Firstly, the EU track record doesn't exactly inspire confidence. And the second is that when leavers talk like this about UK borders, they are called racists and bigots. Does Macron talking like this make him an EU racist and bigot? The other claim he makes about EU collective security is another one that is open to question, given that just about anyone can get into the Schengen zone and wander about unchecked at will. And as Angela Merkel is now struggling to keep power in Germany, many see the French President as the future driving force behind the EU and its unitary-controlled European ambitions. So it's probably of little surprise to find out that Brussels is planning to speed up the accession of Serbia, Montenegro, Macedonia, Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina and Kosovo into the bloc. According to the Express, this move has been sparked by the resurgence of Russia, the migration crisis, Turkey's authoritarian regime, and the wish to bolster European integration after the UK vote for Brexit. With European Commissioner Johann Hahn saying, "Either we export stability to the region or we import instability." Mr. Hahn argued that EU's enlargement process was the best way to fight corruption, organised crime and the threat of authoritarianism in the region, said the Express. From what I've seen of the EU so far, it's more likely to be the reverse. You have to wonder how the enlargement of both the Euro and Schengen zones into that region is going to help, especially as Hungary, for example, has just put up a huge great fence between itself and both Serbia and Croatia because of the migrant crisis, and is now considering new laws to punish those who aid illegal immigration. But the real point here is that an ever more powerful President Macron, in EU terms, actually came to the UK and was open about his ambitions for a greater, more powerful EU, and told us that he was not alone in this. That surely should be enough to convince anyone that the UK is better off out of this dangerous political project. Except, of course, for the most ardent of Remainers, all of whom want to surrender control of the UK to the EU, whatever the cost. What do you think? Please leave a comment below. Thank you. Please do like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.